Welcome to Reality Check, where we use what we see on the TV screen to start conversations about mental health, take a deep dive into understanding relationships. My name is Selena, and I'm a mental health therapist.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline. I'm the co-host and producer.
Woo!
Woo! All right. Any new news or updates? This will seriously be our last one. Yes, no, this will actually be the last one. We are sneaking this in because we're doing Inside Out 2. Woo, woo, raise the roof. Wee.
Not wee.
Yes, we're doing Inside Out 2, which is all the feelings. And Riley is older. She's in that pre-teen kind of phase. She's like 11 or 12 in this one. She's growing up on us. She's growing up. So, yes, we are seeing all the new feelings and all the old feelings and seeing who Riley really is. So, yes. This episode's about emotions, feelings, and how to get through anxiety, how to get through how we feel, and how we should allow our feelings to just take over our body and let it happen, and not fight the feelings.
Nice. So before we get into it, I want to let you know that I have created some really fun coloring sheets that go with the Halloween season. I have created this cute little skull flowery coloring sheet that says even baddies get saddies. There's even a shirt and a hoodie that has that too. And then there's one that says don't ghost your feelings with little ghosts on it. And then one that's like mental health doesn't have to be scary. So if you need a moment to calm yourself and center yourself, these are great tools to use to center yourself and also celebrate the spooky season.
Yes, it is so much fun. You can put them in the boo baskets. That's new this year / last
Oh.
year. These cute little boo baskets that people are making for their girlfriends or boyfriends making for their boyfriends and girlfriends or whoever, just friends in general. It's like a basket and has cute little slippers and stuff, so you can put some drawings in there.
Cute. That's fun.
I want a boo basket.
Someone make this girl a boo basket.
We'll go to TJ Maxx and make it. They have cute baskets.
Cute.
Yes. All righty. Well, shall we just dive on into this?
Let's do it.
All right. We will be diving into Inside Out 2. All right. So I have watched this probably like 7 times. I watched it in theaters when it first came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. But I didn't really watch it like to dissect it. I just watched it, to really just to watch it, honestly. But as I'm dissecting it, thanks to this podcast, so like in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, in the beginning, Joy witnesses Riley being nice. This is when she just made her new friends. And the new friend was up there and she spilled money all over the ground. And she jumped up and something inside her was like, just go help that lady, that girl. And she went over and helped her. And Joy turned around and saw Riley's, I call it personality, coming through because that's who she is. No feeling chose that for her. Riley chose her own path there. She turned around and saw what she was doing. Why doesn't she just let her do that throughout the movie? Because she said it at the very beginning, Riley's becoming Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have totally just been like, yeah, let her do that through the whole movie instead of being joyful.
Well, there's so much to unpack with this, right? So a few things that come to mind in the movie is like things that are important to her. So they're like, and here's Family Island, and how it was like really small.
Yeah.
Because at that age, when you're becoming more independent in like the middle school age, family becomes less important to them. Not that it's not important, but it's less on their radar because they're trying to fit in and be cool.
Right.
And then you have that like in Riley's sense of self, that little like squiggly, liney ball that like goes down, and like she like plucked and what I would call her core beliefs
Yes.
of I'm a good person. And so when you're really young and innocent, I think you have you are more likely, not always, more likely to have like nicer core beliefs about yourself. Like, I'm a good person. And so as she grows up, she starts to learn, she becomes more self conscious. Middle school is about when we start like recognizing ourselves and seeing
Mm-hmm.
ourselves as different than others. So at that, um, when she's like helping her friend pick up all the money that she had dropped, it's probably before this time. They probably more elementary, helps her. Her parents have taught her, like, you help people who are down. And then she grows up and she feels a little more self-conscious, and she's also noticing her friends are going to a different high school than her, or junior high,
Mm-hmm.
wherever they're going, different schools, right? So
Different
she's
schools, yeah.
trying to distance herself from them. So maybe she's not being as nice because she's doing it as a way to like protect herself. um yeah, did I answer your question?
No, I zoned out. I'm so sorry. I get she. No, I understand she's going to different schools and all of that, but I think my question is like the beginning of the movie. She says Riley's choosing her own path, like Riley's becoming Riley. Also in the middle indish of the movie, when anxiety, the little orange hair character, I love his little outfit, his little face, but anxiety even says we have to let Riley choose, because Joy said it first. Joy was like, we have to let Riley choose her own path. We have to let Riley do it all. So she knew what Riley had to do. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't understand why I understand why the movie took what it did, but I'm just saying she pretty much summed it up at the beginning is Riley didn't choose any of the feelings. Riley chose who Riley is. And at the end of the movie, Riley chose who Riley is when that thing, that orbit started forming. And then she finally chose joy.
Yeah, so I think that's probably a good depiction of like what we happens when we let our emotions run away with us versus like us sitting with and being with our emotions. So anxiety, we saw that she just took over, and
Right.
like to the point where like no one else could get there, right? She's spinning around and she's glitching in the system so hard. She's so anxious, which I love her character too. Like, if you resonate with this, if you're like, this is how my brain works, like, yeah, you're anxious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
time for therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I don't
um,
I don't resonate with it, but I just love her little hair. It makes the character when she's like, oh, 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 and her little
but
hair is flapping in the wind.
it's like, so Riley's anxiousness takes over, right? And she, oh my gosh, I wrote so many things about anxiety has lots of energy, overhelps and is over prepared, lives in the
Yeah.
future, protects you from the scary stuff that you can't see, plays out every scenario possible. She over explains, she lets the imagination run wild, and she keeps you up at night with endless worry and stress. So Riley
Yes.
is feeding into the anxiety by allowing this continue, and she doesn't, right? She's too young to know any better, and like no one's
Right.
probably taught her like emotional regulation skills or like how to get out of that or how to manage anxious thoughts. So she is letting it go. So she is letting anxiety run the show, right? No joy, no sadness, nothing else can get in, because anxiety is just in this like fight, flight, freeze mode. So she's
Yeah.
in like, how can I, like, anxiety is, how can I over prepare for all of the things so nothing bad happens?
Yeah, yes, you are correct. That is definitely in the later of the movie when anxiety gets introduced. I feel like maybe I should just edit this whole question out. I guess what I'm trying to say is Riley chose who Riley is
Mm-hmm.
in that time. I feel like if Joy would have just let Riley choose the entire movie, how would it have gone? Because Joy is so overpowering that she's not allowing other feelings to come in, and anxiety is like, move over. It's time for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I think, that's an interesting point of, if even from like maybe big movie one, if
Yeah.
Joy just let her be, she
Yeah.
might not be anxious, right? Because joy is like the forefront emotion. She's supposed to be happy all the time. So in a way, in movie one, she's suppressing the other emotions by not feeling them.
Yes.
So, and then insert anxiety. Puberty
Or
comes,
sadness.
anxiety.
Sadness and
Or
anxiety.
yeah, well, Joy took a little bit to get to sadness, like to let her in, but like for the most point, it's like Joy is the one that everyone wants. Yay, Joy. And so we're
Mm-hmm.
suppressing the rest. And so insert anxiety because you can only suppress your other emotions for so long before something else comes up. And maybe that's why anxiety is here
Mm-hmm.
because she's suppressing sadness and fear and disgust and disappointment. She's only allowed to feel happy for
Mm-hmm.
whatever her story is that only allows her to feel happy. And so and when anxiety comes in, anxiety takes over. And then like that right it's bubbling up to the surface and she's unable to control it until she learns to like sit and do her deep breathing and like sit with the anxiety and like that then moves and she's able to feel all of the emotions
Yeah.
after that. So I
Yes.
think it's like she is suppressing
Yes.
emotions, not allowing herself to feel. And so
Hmm.
she's trying to go against what needs to just happen.
Happen. Yes,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. That I completely get.
I'm glad I answered your question.
I was like, where is she going?
I mean, I understand now. We got there. We got there.
We
I
got
think that
there.
we should just keep it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, I do like that. I like how anxiety is everyone's favorite character, or emotion. Um,
I'm just sorry. I just remembered too. Joy was like, when I don't even remember where she was at, but she was like, I'm gonna tell anxiety, just don't worry so much anymore.
yes, yes, it's like the
And then
irony
she was
in
like,
that.
Joy, I never thought of that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So funny
Um,
because like that's another way of like trying to suppress the
hmm.
emotions.
Oh yes, yes. Um,
Sorry, continue. That was
no,
hilarious.
you're fine, you're fine. So tell me his name again, the French guy.
Ennui,
Ennui. What does that mean?
boredom.
Boredom. I did not know that. I thought the adult in me thought he was just high. I thought that was like, I thought they were introducing a different, like, the high part of our brain, like, oh, just let it be. You know what I mean? Like, lulu.
He's like bored
Um,
and like can't be bothered and like
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I like when Joy's like, wee wee, I'm gonna call you wee wee. That was my favorite. But I like when we said in a scene to anxiety, you care too much. You care too much. Like just let it be, let it happen. Stop. Why does anxiety care too much? Like when we get like is that what strikes anxiety in us? Not saying everyone's the same, but obviously that's what happened to Riley is she cared about being on the team. She cared about what was in that notebook that
Mhm.
she shouldn't even be in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Right. So anxiety lives in the future, a fear of what might happen. So it's not so much that they care too much, it's like fearful that they won't be able to survive whatever it is that's coming in the future. So
mm,
anxiety is overcompensating or trying to prevent that from happening. So anxiety is showing up. Her friends are going a separate direction. She's probably really fearful that she's going to be alone or not have any friends, right? That's really important at this age in a child's life is to have friends. So she's going to a new school, her friends aren't coming with her. So she starts to like become anxious and overcompensate and ditch her current friends, not realizing that she can also keep her old friends and make new friends. But anxiety is so overwhelming for her that she needs to make new friends. She needs to be good on the hockey team because this is how she is accepted into this new school. So she
mhm.
overcorrects by like practicing a lot. She gets really anxious. She's like all like jittery. She denies liking this band that she likes and her other friends, right? She's like really pushing her other friends away. She doesn't realize that the anxiety is actually causing disconnect with herself and her friends
Yes.
while it's trying to prepare from not being lonely, but it's creating this. She's actually becoming more lonely. She just doesn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. When she was pushing her friends away, my oldest was watching it because she loves it. And she was like, I don't know why she's being so mean to her friends. Like, she should be nice to them. And I had to explain to her that not everyone, but some people get to a certain age where they yearn for new friends and they want that big circle and they want the popular and they want to be on that team or make the A team or whatever it is. And most people, like I said, not all, but most people will push out their old just to get to the new. And when they get to the new, they find out it's not always what it's cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
Yeah.
that's also part of shedding your skin. And that's part of, figuring out where you are with your friends or in the school system or wherever you are in life.
And it's very much a part of that age. Those are pretty
Yeah.
formative years in figuring out who you like as friends. Because in elementary school, you're friends with everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you're young and you're little and everyone is so exciting. And then you grow up to like middle school and you start to
Mm-hmm.
realize, like, okay, I have more specialized friends. And
Yes.
then it becomes even more diverse or
Mm-hmm.
more specific in high school because we're
Yes.
exposed to more things and we become more independent and we're starting to think about ourselves and our likes and our dislikes.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it's interesting because just watching that and talking to her, she's 9, going to be 10, and she's just very observant of it all. And she's like, I'll always keep my friends. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's sweet.
Yeah, that's sweet.
You do that, wee wee. Um,
Mhm.
my other question or my other thing is, this really was interesting when Joy said this is when we get older, we don't feel joy anymore.
Hmm.
We like that. I was like, that is borderline true because reality hits. Your bubble is popped. You don't have, in my opinion, you don't have your grandma, grandpa, grandmom, dad, whoever it was that was taking care of you, give you this beautiful vision of life. And then when you enter the real world, and when I say real world, I mean like out of college, out of high school, or wherever you're entered into, and you're hit with what backstabbing is, what two-faced is, what bills are, what you have to do if your car breaks down, like it's more real.
Yeah, I think that's part of life becoming independent. I wouldn't say that there's less joy. There's more responsibility. And
Responsibility is not joyful, in my opinion.
well, it depends. I think it
What?
depends on
What
where you're
responsibilities?
I think it depends on where you're at. I also think that like joy comes from healing and like knowing who you are. You don't have to like I think you can still be joyful and be incredibly poor or you can still be sad and be incredibly rich, right? Like it doesn't money doesn't matter and responsibility doesn't really matter. It's about how you
Mhm.
process and how you're able to be resilient within the situations that you've been given.
Yes, that is a good point. Money does not grow on trees to make you happy. I think I was just going more towards I guess I used money examples. I should have used like if your favorite tree died, like you were growing this tree and it was so great and then it died. Like, how can
Mhm.
you find joy in the fact that your walnut tree that your grandma gave you died or something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, that stuff happens in childhood. I think we're just able to think about it in a deeper level. And so it
Mm-hmm.
might create deeper feelings as an adult. So that tree that was nostalgic, for some reason, I'm thinking about your willow tree at your parents' house and how we used to swing on that. And that
Yeah.
was so much fun for us. And like, if that tree dies or like something happens to that tree, like, I would be sad. But I also get to live, there's this and both, the dichotomy again
Mm.
of like this tree was nostalgic for us because we would play on this tree and swing on it and even it hurt me that one time it broke and hurt my back. I'll never forget
Yeah.
that. That was so funny. Sorry, mom.
Right? Oh, that was
But it's like
funny.
it's this and both of it's nostalgic and it has lots of memories, and while it's sad I also can think of that tree and remember the good times that we had playing around that tree.
Yes, I agree. I feel
So I
like that's with your adult brain, but as a child, everything is so talking about Riley and in that children like atmosphere or preteen atmosphere, everything is still very cushioned for you.
right, your world is so small
That's what I'm
when
saying.
you're
Is so
little.
when you get that's what Joy's saying is when you get older, you don't feel it as much.
I think you're just more complex.
Yeah.
I think we notice our sadness and grief and disgust and things like, especially if you're emotionally mature, like you're gonna allow all of that to come. It's not that like you are less happy. Maybe you are less happy, but you can also like change some things in your life to become more happy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I understand. I'm just saying, I think in that area, they were like,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Because spaghetti makes me happy. Like, that makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to put a notepad down and write down what's happy versus sad, or not sad, not necessarily sad, but happy versus all the other feelings, the other
Mm-hmm.
feelings are 100% winning.
Yes, we have a negative bias. Our brains tend to grab onto the negative things.
Hmm.
So
That's your
I,
homework, guys. Get a notepad.
this is why practicing gratitude is really important, because our brain, we tend to pick out the negative things because
Mm-hmm.
our brain's number one function for us is to keep us alive. And
Mm-hmm.
so anxiety is an adaptation of that. So anxiety is fearful of whatever's going to happen in the future. So her brain is going to dissect everything, right? Remember in the back seat of the car, she was like, pause that. Did you see that? She's saying something. And it was like just like a small little twitch in the eyebrow. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like anxiety is like seeing that and like, oh my God, something is wrong and we're overthinking it. And
Yeah.
so instead of just like asking, we're making assumptions about what's happening, and we're having stories in our head because our brain is like automatically looking for things that are negative to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I like I said, I like anxiety. I like the character. It's a cute little thing. I didn't type this out. It's not necessarily a question, it's more of a observation. But my oldest was watching it, like I keep saying, with me. And she was like, what did she say? Should have wrote it down. She goes, I don't like anxiety.
Mm.
And just hearing that, I was like, oh, girl, no one does. And she was like, well, if she would just let Riley be Riley, then she wouldn't have to work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I said, but Riley is having anxiety about making it on the team and about just life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pointed out the bench scene
Mm-hmm.
of her having the panic attack
Mm-hmm.
because anxiety won and she couldn't calm her heart rate, her breathing, her everything down until, take it away, therapist, she started doing.
Some deep breathing exercises. So back to your comment about your daughter's like, I don't want anxiety. I think it should just be like, if anxiety, just let her be. I think for that to happen, Riley has to be able to trust herself and know that she's going to do this very scary thing and she'll be okay. Like
Mm,
really truly believe that. I think we can like intellectualize that she's going to be okay. She'll make friends. She's like an athletic girl. She's on a team. Like she's got a built-in system that friends are just going to happen naturally.
yeah.
But for her to believe that and emotionally know that, that's something different. That's where anxiety comes in and overcorrects. But if she
Mhm.
were to know, like, I know that I'm going to make friends, is it going to be scary? Yes. But can I do this? Yes. I think she would be, if she emotionally like felt that in her body, there wouldn't be any anxiety there.
Wow. There is a lot of healing afterwards, which it is hard to say sorry. Not everyone can say sorry. Not everyone can look at someone in the face that they've hurt, either mentally, physically, or whatever. Um, and she looks at her friends and she was just like, I'm sorry. And she had to sit in her feelings after having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I would run the other way. I probably would. And that's what my oldest said. She's like, I would quit the team. I would run away. I said, me too, me too. And I would say sorry later after my feelings have regulated and I'm
Mm-hmm.
back to,
Well,
but she was like, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Because her friends came to check on her after she
mhm.
did hurt them.
Well, this is a nice little Disney movie that's wrapped up in a bow that
Mm-hmm.
you know, we can immediately say not everyone can do that. And so, maybe she's been given the tools on how to do that. Things like that. I loved at the end when they gave anxiety her little calm chair.
Yes.
It had like a candle and essential oils, and she
It
had
had
like
tea in her little cup. Yes. Or I
that
think
is.
it was coffee. I don't know what it was, but it was something.
Do not give anxiety coffee. We do not need to give her
I
coffee.
know. I need to look. Let me look
It
that up
had
real
to have
quick.
been like, huh?
I'm looking that up real quick because I thought it was coffee.
It should not be coffee. Do
It
not
should
give
not be. And I think I called it out. Like, I remember watching it in theaters. Like, why'd they give her coffee?
But if you are anxious, creating a calm corner for yourself is like a good idea because it was filled with anxiety's all favorite things, and she was just able to sit there and relax.
Yes.
It
She
was so
was so
cute.
sweet. But one character I do want to talk about that I am noticing more in my oldest is embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
That is must be a 9 to 10-year-old range also, because that is so funny. She got embarrassed over embarrassment.
Secondhand embarrassment.
She was like watching it, and she was like, "Oh, I can't look," and I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Cause he's doing this, and that, or something, you know." And I was like,
That's so
"Oh,
funny.
you're going," but it's funny because she was going through all the feelings minus sadness and envy, of course. Like, not all of them, but she was. I was like
Mhm.
watching her and watching it, and I'm like, "Are you Riley?"
That's so funny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cute movie. I liked it. I thought it was great for adults, for kids,
I
for
also love how they gave him a little butt crack. Like
yeah.
they
I
made
know.
him embarrassing.
Yeah. My youngest was like, his booty. Yep.
So funny. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, the embarrassment was adorable. I
Yes.
love him and Sadness. They're my favorite.
I am not a fan of Sadness, which we did talk about on Inside
Oh
Out 1. I am
god,
not a
I think
fan of
she's
her.
great.
Joy actually in this episode found out what sadness is, and she had a moment of, I don't want to
Mm,
say the words freak out because I don't want to like say she went crazy, but she had a moment of sadness and a little bit of like her emotions went haywire. And even
mm-hmm,
anger was like, "Who are you?"
mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it almost felt like those moments when you give up hope, you
Mm-hmm.
lose all your like joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to connect back to that, but luckily her other emotions were able to like help her out in this movie. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that can happen.
She was like, "What? How do you think I feel being joyful all the time for you guys?"
Yes, right. It's exhausting having to do that, having to be like a positive Polly all the
Yes.
time. Random tidbit, the puns on this movie were top notch. Like
I didn't pick them up.
the brainstorm, like where it's like storming ideas and they're like it's literally storming, like a brainstorm. So like when you're thinking about lots of ideas, do you not get that?
Oh, I
Or
get it.
like
Yes.
the sarcasm, like a chasm in the earth. And so
I
when they
didn't get
yelled
them.
across that crack, it came out sarcastic. It's like, you guys are the best workers. And to the little construction worker guys, and they're like, you guys are the best workers. And they're like, what a bunch of jerks. Because it's
Yeah.
coming out a sarcasm. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I got that it was sarcasm, but I didn't know chasm was a thing. When you were typing it out, I was like, why is she saying sarcasm? Like I
It's like
knew what,
chasm.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the Dora the Explorer spinoff character was hilarious. Pouchy, and he's like, a stick of dynamite or a
Yeah.
rubber ducky. Which one do you need? And how annoyed they were. Like, I feel like you really spoke to the millennials in that. Of like, just answer, Dora. We know backpack. Like, you've got these tools.
So I do, real quick before we wrap this up, I do want to point out one thing that I pointed out in Inside Out 1, and you were like, I don't think that's really a thing. Um, the mom's feelings are all females.
Mm-hmm.
And even in Inside Out 2, they're all females. The
Mhm.
dad's is all males.
Mhm.
And even in Inside Out 2, the dad is all males. And Riley is still male and female.
I mean, we could read deeper into that, and maybe she's non-binary. She is a hockey player, so
Right. But they're taking a glimpse of like, or not glimpse, what is it? Like alluding to her
being a
being,
lesbian. I mean,
because
sure.
anxiety kicked in and was like, don't look weird, stand up, do this, do that. And she was like, oh yeah, like I'm so cool.
Well, I think for cinematic reasons, they had to have a mix of boys and girl characters.
Okay, well, they could have done that to the male. Because it was funny in the car. The dad was like, oh, what are we going to do this weekend? And his brain was like, all right, game on. And she goes, clean. He goes, damn it. He did it because they had the house to themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his people in his head were like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And her secrets, those were
Mhm.
hilarious.
Oh, yes.
I expected her dark secret to be something more funny than like burning a hole in the rug. I was a little disappointed with the anticlimactic.
Her crushes were funny. They're all like cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
I
guess.
mean, who didn't love Aladdin? I mean, who didn't crush on Prince Charming?
I saw this one meme that was like, why did Disney make us fall in love with a fox? And it was Robin Hood. Like, why did they have to make his smile so so sleek? I guess I could see that, but yeah, I get what they're saying. Like, why would they make an animal good looking for humans?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's
But
funny.
anyway, so as we're wrapping this up,
What will we talk about next time, Jacqueline?
we're done.
This is for real our last episode.
I know, I wish we could do some more blogs because I feel like the blogs you guys love.
Ain't nobody got time for that. You going to work.
I know, I was just talking as a conversation. Okay, it's
No.
done.
Like, no, we're not doing it anymore. Just because I am a therapist doesn't mean that I am your therapist. If this episode brought up some feelings, we highly recommend that you seek out your own therapy.
Yes. I would like to end it with, don't forget, you get to decide what to do with your own emotions.
I love it. Good job. This has been Reality Check.
Bye.
Bye.